this is an old sledge head. Looks like it's probably around 5 pounds. Not sure any information on it other than it has been used extensively. Not really sure how those jagged edges got in there, but came out here to the shop today to get a fire going and get some stuff burning out in the front, but it's awfully windy, so I'm stuck in here for a few minutes so that wind blows through. Cut this off of an axe. Actually, no, this came off of a splitting maul. So this handle that we're going to use for this sledge is just about 1.5 feet or so off of this splitting maul that obviously I overstruck one day or something and it broke. So we're gonna stick that in there, and it should be, like I said, pretty short little 5-pound sledge when we're done. So you can see it's a little oversized. We got just the right amount of width. So we want this thing sticking out, I'd say just about to that around it right there, maybe a little higher. You know, I'll use a file. Sometimes I use a spoke shave and take off the edges. So we'll do this a little bit slowly so we can make sure we don't mess up. So here we go. We're gonna take some material off the sides, right? So you can use a draw knife, a spoke shave, any sort of cutting tool. I like to use these rasps. And then to do the finishing work, not even necessarily finishing work, but I think these are called like a 4-in-1 or 4-in-hand or something. They got a rounded side and a flat side. And then on each of those sides they have a coarse and a fine file. So these are pretty effective. These are even more aggressive. So I'll use this rasp initially. So I'm gonna get it down higher. I drew the line right here. I'm gonna file this down a little bit higher than that. Just flat, completely flat across. And then because that'll let me know if my width is okay, or my length this way. And then I'll put a radius on it after. You can see this removes material pretty quickly. And I'm paying attention to right here where it ends. I'm kind of starting to put a little bit of a swoop, a little bit of a taper. That way the head has something to you really tighten up against. File down the other side now. Alright, I got the width about right. Let's put some just kind of radius. I'm gonna do this with the rounded side of the rasp here. Up here, you know, you can use a flat end. Just put a nice little radius on it. As well get that sticker off. Let's go ahead and check our fit. So this thing looks not symmetrical. This axe head is, or this handle head is. Oh wow, we got it pretty close. Wow, we got that pretty close the first time. So usually you got to go back and forth a few times, but that's a tight fit right there. But we still got 1/2 inch or so. Just give it a whack on the vise part. See, the anvil part of the vise. So yeah, I smashed that down a little bit, and now we're about 1/8 of an inch or so from the top. And we're not peeling, so whenever this gets too tight, it'll start kind of peeling down. So that's not the right way to hang these, but you know, it does give you an idea if you need to actually trim anymore or not. we're not really peeling. So the way that I do this, I think a lot of people do it also, but you kind of loosely grab the handle in your hand, take a hammer, some soft mallet, and you hit it, and this might not have enough weight to it, and you kind of let it slide in your hand slowly as you do it, and you can see that the top of the handle is definitely getting into place right there. Honestly, that's probably good. So I don't think we need to mess with this at all. I'm gonna pop this out real quick before, you know, because I don't have a cut in it. A kerf, is that what those are called? So I'm gonna pop this head off. I love how it's fitting. Just in case it's not symmetrical, I'm gonna go ahead and mark which side is which, and I'm gonna take it off, cut a kerf in here, put it back in, and I got a wedge for us. So I'm gonna smooth this wood a little bit too. All right, so I wanted you all to see where it was getting tight right around there. That was pretty perfect. So I'm gonna smooth this down, and you can see those teeth, those sharp jagged edges were kind of eating into this wood here, so I'm gonna file those off too. But yeah, I'm gonna let it sit just a little bit deeper, just a touch, smooth that out, so it'll be pretty perfect, I think. Here's one thing I'm not liking. For some reason, right in here, we've got an awful lot of these jagged teeth. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna file those out. All right, we're gonna file the bottom side now. It had kind of the same problem happening. These sharp edges, I'm really not sure what that was from. So something that will affect the function, in my opinion, are these, I mean, look at these edges. These are rolled over and then they're chipping off. So this thing was definitely abused. There is some sort of marking right around here. That could just be some sort of pitting or something weird. So I want to get rid of the mushrooming. Okay, just a rough grind on get the mushrooming off for the most part. Still got a lot of file work to do. So we do have a little spot right here. I'm trying to decide what to do with. Might just put I'm hoping the bevel that I put on takes a serious chunk of that out. So now I'm going to take my file. And start filing this as kind of as flat as I can get it. Not worried about messing up this finish here. This isn't so much a patina as it is pitting. Okay, I have each face filed down relatively flat, and then I got the corners filed down relatively flat. That's an issue right there, figuring that one out as I go. And that one looks good. I'm gonna put a nice bevel around this edge though. And still need to figure out what to do with that. But yeah, it's cleaning up, so I'm gonna keep going on. That was about an hour of filing, I'd say. So okay, so I got one side, you know, I'd say about 80% done. This is the worst spot in the whole thing right here. I'm thinking if I should file that down all the way or or just leave it, or maybe file it a little more and then leave it. But haven't filed this face yet, but I did put a little bevel around the whole thing. It's looking pretty good. It's cleaning up nice. Actually, I mean, pretty much anything beyond this point is just going to be for looks. It will prevent rust a little. The more of these pits and things that I iron out of here, the better rust resistance it'll have. But again, it's a sledgehammer, so. And now I'm gonna take my small files here, just kind of touch it up. Just do that touch-up work like that. Get everything as flat and even as I can. All right, so I just finished up putting the bevels on, and there was a lot of deep pitting on this, so I took the little flap grinder disc here and gave it a once over. Try to get as much of that surface off so I could see how deep it really was. It's pretty bad, as you can see. So again, sledgehammer, not ultra concerned with that. All right, got a little sanding on it, some 220, and just kind of real briefly polished it up with a finer grit. I don't even know what it is, doesn't matter. This is a sledgehammer, right? So I got most of the rust off. The pitting has rust in it, obviously, but I'm not worried about it. So let's go ahead and hang this. We're gonna go straight down the middle, and this is gonna be where we put our wedge, which is what's gonna mushroom out the top and keep this handle in. So there we go. So you don't want to go through the whole full thickness of the thing, but you do want it to be in there. So in a substantial way, you do want this to be in there pretty good. So then take a mallet and you can see it's starting to poke through quite a bit. So we want that real nice and tight. It's not really getting tighter. We're starting to have a little bit of flare out. Unless I'm gonna give it a couple more whacks and call it good. Yeah, it's not getting any further down. I'm gonna go grab a wedge. Okay, for our wedge, we want it to be just, I like doing just a little bit wider than the hole. Good. Okay, so I got that thing flattened out. Looks nice. Like I said, I wish that wedge was in there a little deeper, but it'll work just fine. That's already tight as can be. And we're still gonna put another metal wedge in there, so if I can find one. This is off of a cheap axe I bought. There's actually a clear coat finish on here. So best way to take this off I've ever done is it's got to be a sharp knife. I made this one, it's nice and sharp, and scrape. And you can see just the shaving. That's pretty much just the clear coat. Because we want to be able to oil this some linseed oil. And that clear coat's not gonna let us do that. This is very satisfying, by the way. And it really tests your knife's edge out. I got this thing razor sharp. There's no burring, nothing, so that's a good sign. And we'll just keep doing this on all four sides. Now we have a really nice short-handled sledgehammer. I mean, this thing is one-hander. It's one easy one-hander, and I really like it. So we're gonna put a metal wedge in here. I'm gonna have to go find one. All right. Robbed these circle wedges from a different that old head. So now we're gonna just install this. If it's not too big, I think that'll be perfect. It's honestly, it's a little big, but try to get it started might be the hardest part. We got it done. There it is. It's not oiled yet. So that's what we're gonna do now. But man, this thing is already looking really nice. And we're just gonna take a little bit of this boiled linseed oil in our hand and just work it down the hammer. We'll get the end real well. And this will help preserve this metal too. Don't be afraid to get it on the metal. But so yeah, that's a nice one. Really like the way that this turned out. Let's get some up under this. Really get some on the end there. And on this end, so this is an old handle. We got a little crack there. I think if we keep this thing nice and varnished, or sorry, definitely not varnished. I think if we keep this thing nice and oiled up and stay on top of that, that won't be an issue. And if it is, I mean, we can always fix that. So yeah, there's the old sledgehammer. I guess while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and put some more linseed oil on my old handle on this guy. It hasn't had oil in years. But whenever I first did make it, I put a lot on. This is actually a knife sheath from a, I think it's from the Schrade, which I hate now. Sorry, Schrade. But the Schrade old-timer, I don't know. One of the Schrade that looks like that, right? It's like a skinning knife. I didn't realize when I made this that I made it, you know, the handle on mine is much better, in my opinion. But the blade is like, it's like a perfect match. So I just sold this sheath. I mean, it's kind of a crappy little sheath. The leather looks like it's about to crack, but it's held up for quite a while. So there she is. Okay, so we let that sit for a minute, and we're gonna just wipe away the excess. It can kind of like gum up or whatever, but we'll just wipe away most of the excess. And there you go. I mean, this thing that's a good sledgehammer now. It'll last a long time. Oh yeah, that's a nice looking tool right there. I love it, and I love that it's a pretty mid-duty sledgehammer that I could one hand operate real nice. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and it looks cool too. That's a lot of pitting, it's a lot of rust over the years, but we got it all fixed up, so this thing can live on, and it will. I'll definitely use this. I'm probably gonna take the sledgehammer in my truck out in my toolbox, and I'm probably gonna put this guy back there. So all right, so that's all we got time for today. The wind is still going, so I can't do my fire today, but yeah, it's not going too bad anymore, but it's kind of cold. The dogs are cold. I don't know. There's an excuse somewhere for it. So, but we'll do that next time. I love a good fire. So, all right. See y'all later.